Hi there, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's time to have a look and see what is going on when it comes to your monthly astrological forecast for March 2022. And just a quick heads up, remember, I do also put out monthly tarot card forecasts the last week of every month, and so those will be out here, of course, shortly. And if you are a YouTube member supporter or a Patreon supporter, you also have, of course, your weekly tarot forecasts I put out every Saturday. And if you ever want to get a session with me, you can go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com, or you can just simply follow the links below for everything I just mentioned. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, engagement helps this channel out a lot. So what's going on when it comes to this month? This month is going to be very kinetic, very active, and it's sometimes a little bit demanding, but it is still overwhelmingly positive a month. It's just that you're going to need to be ready to think on your feet, because a lot of the planets are starting to move into more areas of the chart, activating more areas of the zodiac than they have in recent history. You know, ever since about November, everything's been kind of clustered and really, really focused. Now a lot of these shifts are starting to come from more spaces, and of course that means a lot more kinetic activity for us to be ready to engage in. This starts off on the 2nd of the month, where a new moon in Pisces opens up a window period of 2 weeks, right, from the 2nd of the month through the 17th of the month, for a new beginning or a new cycle as it relates to your 5th house of love, romance, recreation, creativity or creative projects, creative pursuits, as well as parenthood and your relationships with your kids. With a new moon in this area of your chart, a lot of you who are currently single or available Scorpios are going to be finding that a few opportunities to start a relationship that is not typical for what you are used to or what your normal has been is going to show up, because this new moon is going to, of course, be asking you to change your style a little bit, because you and this new person are going to be starting off on a clean slate with a very fresh new territory together. And for those of you who are currently coupled or currently committed, you're also going to find that the relationship style, the relationship dynamic with which you relate is also going to be shifting in response to this new beginning. So this new beginning could be, of course, a new sense of establishment, a new direction to move the relationship or the family in, possibly something that is going to set up a new goal or a new aspiration or a new timeline. And we're also getting a chance to delve more deeply into a way to relate to each other that is bringing out more of our inner self with one another, as opposed to maybe having to have a relationship in recent history that kind of felt a little bit more like it was work. And sometimes that can happen. It's perfectly natural, especially if we do have kids, or, you know, we're both working and we're kind of running a whole lot of different priorities. This new moon is opening up a nice sweet honeymoon period for all of you Scorpio people to really let your hair down. This is also a time where relationships with your kids are going through an opportunity to start on a new foot. You know, we may be actually getting closer to our children, relating to them in new ways, and also having them present signs of their personalities, sides of their growth, that we've not been able to actually explore or get too familiar with, but it's definitely bringing us a lot closer to one another. We also have Venus and Mars moving hand in hand into Aquarius this month on the 6th. And they're both going to be in Aquarius through the duration of the month. Now, Aquarius is your 4th house of home, family, home economics, home-based business operations, chosen family as well, your roots, and your living situation. Venus, the planet of love, popularity, favor, and affection, moving into this space is giving you a chance to transform the entire atmosphere around all of these spaces. You may be noticing that if you are, wondering about home economics or household material affairs, Venus is actually making things a lot more comfortable, a lot more luxurious. In fact, if you do have a home-based business operation, or maybe a partner does, this is going to be a very prosperous month month for that venture. This is also going to be a time where you may be noticing that your relationships with family members, as well as with your kids or even your chosen family, if that's how you do, are also going through a period of transformation where people are becoming a lot more generous with one another. They're becoming a lot more open, right? Open door policies, as it were. And there's a lot more supportive involvement going on household to household. This is also going to be a time where a lot of you who are maybe looking for opportunities to get closer to a partner, or if you've been seeing somebody, you're ready to go to the next level, even talks about doing a bit of merging some of our interests, or maybe it's time to think about moving in together. All of that is really, really supported by this Venus in your 4th in March. Mars here, the planet of action, passion, energy, and obstacle clearing, is coming in and creating a bit of a storm, but it's a storm that serves, because Mars in the 4th house can focus on breaking down walls and clearing old business as it relates to household matters, home economics, or even family situations. Now, when we're talking about knocking down walls, it can be a time where, yes, this is of course knocking down walls to bring people closer together, but it can stir up some controversy every now and then, because let's face it, not everybody in the world is at a place in their consciousness where they want to do examination or solutions to long-standing challenges or old stories. You know, some people, even people in the spiritual community, might be running from their stuff, not really willing to solve their stuff. And so with Mars here, it could be a little hectic every now and then. However, this can still also serve you in a beautiful way when it comes to making some serious headway with breaking any glass ceilings that you may have encountered when it comes to what you want to do with your living situation or home economic situation. We are seeing, again, more hustle and bustle, more money flowing in, whether it's just coming from all different places at once. Mars has a tendency to do that. Or it is also allowing you and all involved to be able to move on to some kind of environment or new home setup or new home routine that is going to allow for greater prosperity in the home on and off the job. We also have Mercury moving into Pisces, that 5th house of romance, recreation, creative pursuits, and relationships with your kids, on the 9th. And Mercury is going to be here from the 9th through the 28th of the month. And with Mercury, the planet of communications, haste and speed and productivity here, you're going to be seeing that a lot of recreational pursuits, creative pursuits, whether they're creative pursuits you are trying to monetize, things you're trying to, turn into a job, or maybe just things you're trying to put out there into the world, or maybe get more committed to. All of these endeavors, all of these projects are starting to speed up. We're seeing lines of communication open so that you can, of course, not only strut your stuff, but if you're looking to maybe change something about how you're interacting with the rest of the world, maybe you're trying to develop a skill or a talent, you're becoming more masterful here. Mercury is, of course, doing a lot of good for you. You may even find that there are certain things that you could monetize that you didn't know you could monetize, and that's going to be taking off beautifully. A lot of you may also find that things that have been underappreciated when it comes to what you're putting out there creatively, or maybe artistically, or even spiritually, are now getting appreciated, whereas once they may have been before their time. This is also going to be an opportunity for a lot of you Scorpio people to create a new dialogue when it comes to maybe your relationships with your kids, become closer to them, become better friends with them. And you're also going to find that with Mercury opening up those lines of communication, you're going to notice your children becoming a lot more open with you, right? Creating a stronger open door policy in that respect. We also have the Sun in this 5th house as well through the 20th of the month, bringing attention, enhancement, and support to this whole area. And a lot of you Scorpio people are going to find that you are attracting a lot of supportive attention from everybody around you. Yes, of course, this is going to magnetize romantic attention to those of you who are looking for new love opportunities. It's going to be bringing a lot more play. And we're also going to be bonding a different way with current partners, our children as well, because this is going to be bringing an opportunity to bond over endeavors, bond over an adventure, bond over errands, bond over quests, bringing in something that's going to allow for everyone to be a lot more tight with one another. This is, of course, going to be what shows up as well for new people that you may be dating, you may be seeing, but it's important to keep in mind with the sun in Pisces, we're talking about attention enhancement and support here. And so we are also working on making all of these connections and all of these relationships all the more multifaceted. You may also find that when it comes to any kind of creative pursuits that you've got going on, the sun is drawing attention to the product of your work, the services that you're putting out there, the things that you're trying to debut. You yourself may find that something that you have put out there is getting better discovered or better visibility than it ever had before. After the 20th of the month, the sun moves on into Aries, your 6th house of work, reputation, your schedule, teams you're on, as well as your lifestyle and even your physical health. And we've got Mercury moving into this area as well at the end of March. And both of these will be here into April as well. When we have the sun and Mercury together in the 6th house, it's an opportunity for us to completely transform how we are seen, how we are received, and how we interact with the rest of the world, especially when it comes to our life's work. With the sun in the 6th house, you are getting more value for what you bring to your field, with what you bring to your team, what you bring to your work community, and the people that you serve. This is a great time for a lot of you Scorpio people to think about maybe changing how you maybe charge for your services, negotiate changes in your schedule, your availability, give yourself a bit of a raise maybe. And you're also attracting a lot more attention from more supportive business, more compatible business, which means easier clientele and easier customers to work for, as well as becoming a little bit more famous in your field, a little bit more well-known in your field. Mercury here is also providing a great deal of assistance when it comes to health matters, though I'm not a doctor, and as I always say, run from every astrologer who thinks they can pretend to be just because they have a bit of astrology under their belt. But Mercury is going to be hurrying along the payoffs of any kind of work you've been doing when it comes to a health routine or a health regimen you have taken on in recent history, or perhaps even producing an opportunity for you to make a shift in your lifestyle to produce superior results. With Mercury, of course, speeding things up in the 6th house of work, you're also going to be noticing this, end of this month and going into April, you're also accruing wealth a lot more quickly because things really add up, but they add up in a way where some people who might not necessarily trust the process may miss. It's all about being able to take on a lot of easy work, small, easy to finish work that adds up really quickly. And a lot of you Scorpio people will be doing just that throughout the end of this month and going into April and feeling very, very comfortable. Finally, we have a full moon in Virgo, which is occurring on the 18th of the month, setting up the second 2-week lunation window, right? So from the 18th through the end of the month, this full moon is in full swing. This is in your 11th house of friendships and social networking, your platonic support system, as well as your loftiest goals and ambitions. And a full moon is all about culminations and transitions. And this is going to be kind of a double-edged message, I think, because a full moon here absolutely is going to allow you to bring a certain story or maybe a certain pursuit or ambition you've been chasing full circle. A lot of you may actually be cashing in on some kind of investment you've made, or a lot of you may be getting ready to make some kind of big move or commence with some kind of big travel plan, or at least get it committed. This is also a great time for a lot of you who've been thinking about maybe closing up something that you have been entangled with, that ultimately you have been invested in, but you've seen it through, it's run its course, time to promote and lift ourselves onward to something bigger and better. However, with the full moon in the 11th house, there could also be some social pruning going on at the end of this month. And it may be that some of you Scorpio people may actually decide it's time to let go of some connections or affiliations you may have. This is a more of a platonic focus or more of a business type focus. So this really doesn't have to do so much with love and romance, but this could be the guys, the girls, right? The crew. Something that ultimately has run its course may need to finally be punctuated, be finished up. And in a lot of cases, I will say with a full moon in the 11th house, it's never really a surprise. It may be that this full moon just kind of confirms what we've already been thinking about when it comes to this person or this group or this crowd, and we are making room for those that are better fits for us anyway. So that is what I've got for you, Scorpio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And should you ever want to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.